gonna say, it said I could start it too, so if you want to go ahead.
We're late, we better go.
We got it. It's okay. I know, right?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Sorry, we had a couple technical issues, but we are here now. Where is everybody joining us from tonight? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. Maryland, welcome back, Mark. Oh, Tampa, welcome. Oh, we got Ann Arbor, Michigan in the house as well. Where else is everybody from? I am going to butcher that name.
Oconomowoc.
Thank you. Denver's in the house
lived
as
near
well.
Oconomowoc.
Oh, SoCal.
I'm from Oconomowoc too, Kathy, or Catherine,
Welcome from SoCal.
but now I live in Colorado.
Wonderful. We'll give it just another minute, letting people log in, and then we will get started. Thanks again for your patience, guys. We did run into a few little technical glitches. Okay, so I'm still having issues with my screen. So the tech gods are not cooperating fully tonight. Candace, would you like to go ahead and give the introduction?
Sure. We normally have a slide presentation, but tonight we are uniquely live here in Giuseppe's International Oil and Vinegars. And this is Joe. He is the owner of Giuseppe's. Joe, introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been in business.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining tonight in my shop. I'm Joe Cucinello, owner of Giuseppe's International Oils and Vinegars. We've been at this location at Partridge Creek Mall in Clinton Township, Michigan for going on 10 years now. And it's just a great fun tasting room to come in, taste good oils and vinegars, have a good time, and really enjoy sharing good quality oils and vinegars with people.
And for those of you who don't know us or are joining us for the very first time, I'm Candace Stearns, owner of Stay Balanced Travel. We put together a virtual vacation back in April of 2000 when the pandemic started. And those of us in the travel business just wouldn't let travel die. We wanted to keep the dreams alive, and even though we couldn't physically go to some of our favorite places in Europe, we decided to start hosting weekly virtual vacations. And some of you have been with us for a very long time, and some of you have only been with us for a short time. But out of that spawned some actual meetup groups, and some of you might be joining us through a meetup group. So we have a meetup, Eat, Drink, Travel Detroit, where we have hopefully going to be hosting some in-person actual meetups here pretty soon as the governor lets us meet with more than 5 or 6 people at a time. But we also have Maria on the call. Maria, introduce yourself and tell us about your meetup group.
I have Eat, Drink, Travel, Greater Tampa Bay. So for those of you who are in the meetup group locally, we do have one that we are currently planning. So be sure to be on the lookout for March 24th. As soon as I get those details finalized, I will share that with all of you. Welcome, everybody.
And then we have Angela on the call. Angela Isherwood, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, yes, I'm Angela Isherwood. I'm from Wisconsin, so I run the Lake Country Meetup, and I'm excited to taste all these oils that Joe put together in such a wonderful package. So thank you so much for that, Joe.
And then we'll also now kick it over to Heidi Feast from our Colorado chapter.
Originally from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. I know how to spell it and pronounce it correctly from the time I was a small child. Yes, I do. I have been Benito Travel Design Firm, and I also manage the meetup group for the Colorado Rockies. And we are hoping to have a couple events up here in Steamboat Springs, again, as soon as COVID restrictions allow, and then some down in the Denver area as well, and maybe some other parts of Colorado as we get going.
All right, so we'll kick it back over to you, Maria, and you can introduce our lovely guest speaker who's going to talk about Greece and Italy and all things oil and vinegar.
Welcome. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us tonight. I'm going to put all of our information too for where you can find us in the chat. And before we end tonight, let you know how you can save it so that you can keep our contact information so you can reach out with questions about these itineraries or even anything else that's going on right now in the world of travel, because it is an ever-changing landscape and it can be hard to try and keep on top of everything. So tonight, our guest is Christina Papavlosopoulos, who is a good friend of mine here in the Tampa Bay area. She designed our trip to take us part of Greece and Italy to let us experience the olive oil and how, where you can find and participate in the olive oil experience, I should say. You can find it really all over the countries, both of those countries, but the areas she's going to highlight tonight really speak to the olive oil and all things good food. Christina, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. All right.
Oh, and here, I had told Candace she needed to say this, and I didn't even say it. Kalos irtheste, welcome in Greek to all of you for joining us tonight. I apologize, we really got a little thrown off with these tech issues. Thanks for bearing with us.
Yes, and in Greek we say kalispera, good evening. And for my Italian friends, you can maybe correct me, is it buonasera? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yes, yes.
Joe, what do you say? Thumbs up. All right. Can you guys see my screen? We good?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's begin. So a little bit about what we'll cover this evening. So welcome to the Mediterranean. We're going to share some fun facts on each of the countries. We're going to be looking at Greece and Italy this evening, and the top places where olive oil is produced in both. We'll look at one particular unique mill, which has award-winning medical research based on the caliber of its olive oil. We'll introduce you to the tiny Italian town that gave us balsamic oil, Maserati, and Ferrari. And we'll also travel along on a custom 10-day culinary-inspired itinerary, going beyond just olive oil to enjoy both countries. So just a little bit about me. Again, Maria introduced me, Christina Papavlosopoulos. That's a great Greek name, right? I am co-founder of Myths and Muses and Shafari. So Myths and Muses is our boutique destination company specializing in Greece and the Southern Europe region with various unique experiences. And Shafari is the first of its kind marketplace, connecting women through join-in group adventures and retreats. So feel free to ask your travel advisors about our exclusive itineraries and special perks and pricing on either of our companies. So we'll begin with Greece. Welcome. We have 10.72 million people living in Greece currently, roughly. There are 6,000 islands total, but 227 are inhabited. The currency is euro. Originally, it was the Greek drachma, and it became part of the EU in 2001. And there are 7 main island groups: the Ionian, the Cycladic Islands, Dodecanese, Saronic, the Northern Sporades, the Aegean, and Crete is its own. And for those of you, if you're interested more on some of the basics on Greece, some kind of hidden gem places to go, Maria can probably pull that up for you guys at some point or put a link in the virtual vacation group. We did a Greece one in the past with some basics, so we're going to kind of focus on this itinerary tonight. Here are the island groups. We have, I like to show it because a lot of people try to say, oh, let's do Corfu and then Santorini and then Skiathos. And as you can see, it's all over the map. So it's really important to travel kind of, locally within the group. So the Ionians are off to the west, the Saronic, Cycladic. The Cycladic ones are probably the most common that you've heard of, Mykonos, Santorini, and that sort of thing. So it's nice to kind of see them all on the map. And then switching gears to Italy, much more populated, 60.3 million people living in Italy today with 20 regions. Also, the currency is euro, used to be the Italian lira. They became part of the EU in '99. And we'll mainly focus on the regions of Emilia-Romagna, where Modena is, Campania with the Amalfi Coast, and Toscana or Tuscany. And we're going to focus on Siena and Montalcino. And here you can see the various regions. We have Emilia-Romagna, where we'll talk about Tuscany, and then down here, Campania is where the Amalfi Coast is. And a lot of people just kind of like to see it all in relation on the map. Here's Italy in comparison to kind of the Adriatic coast, and Greece here. And actually over here to the west is where Corfu is and the Ionian Islands, and you have a beautiful view to Albania from different parts of Corfu from there. So we'll begin with a little video on Greece. All right, so we'll begin with the Peloponnese Peninsula. This region accounts for 35% of the olive oil production. So a lot of you may know, of course, Kalamata olives, where a majority of that comes from. You probably know the village of Sparta and many other ancient villages in that area. And the Peloponnese is really beautiful. It's known for its, authentic B&Bs to luxury 5-star resorts. This is one of the most beautiful luxury properties in the Peloponnese. This is the Aman Zoe from the Aman collection. Zoe means life in Greek, so they chose that name for it. That's located in Kranidi, Greece. And here's a beautiful example of kind of a 4-star boutique hotel in Mani, Greece, which is another beautiful seaside town. This one is called Aria Estate. So additional kind of things to do in the Peloponnese, there's the castle town of Monomvasia. It's actually a separate island that was separated by an earthquake. So there's a little bridge to it, and you can visit the medieval castle. You can follow the towns in ancient history and ancient literature, like Mycenae and Homer's Odyssey. You can visit Epidavros, the ancient theater, the seaside town of Nafplio, the Corinth Canal in ancient Corinth, and Mani, which was the village I showed you before. Or you could visit the Vlichada cave. So there's really beautiful things to do all along the Peloponnese Peninsula. Corfu is another region. It's an Ionian island. It only accounts for about 5% of the olive oil production, but it's known for its family-friendly atmosphere and a really cool Venetian fortress. So this is actually a hotel lobby of the Domes Hotel in Corfu, and this is a living 2,000-year-old olive tree that was built around it. And this property was actually owned by the Onassis family, and it was where Jackie O frequented and spent her summers when they were together. It's known for its famous Blue Bar, which hosted a lot of dignitaries back in the day. So we're going to talk about one of my favorite places to go in Corfu. It's an olive oil mill called The Governor. tell you about that here. Okay, so, and the Governor is one of Greece's premier olive oils. It's known to have 10 times more polyphenols than most olive oils, which contain a lot of anti-inflammatory, antioxidant qualities, and it's been used in treatment of diabetes, Alzheimer's, breast cancer, and lung cancer. So it's pretty cool. They're using that in medical advancement. So another site to see in Corfu is the Achilleon Palace, which was the palace of Princess Sisi, the Empress of Hungary. So this was her kind of summer place and a place to get away when she was ill. They wanted her in a more temperate climate, so they brought her to Corfu. So other things to do, as I mentioned, visit the palace and the courtyard of Muses. You could enjoy a cocktail in the Blue Bar, where I mentioned celebrities, dignitaries, and royalties shared at the Domes Hotel. You can discover the island by bike, set sail on a day cruise with lunch and drinks, or climb the fortress of Corfu town, where, as I mentioned in the beginning, you can actually see where Albania is. So the last Greek destination, which is where we'll build our begin our 4 days of our itinerary, is Crete. So that accounts for 30% of the olive oil production in Greece. It is the largest Greek island. It's about 4 hours coast to coast. Really unique culture and cuisine in Crete. If anybody's been to Greece and has had Cretan food, you can kind of tell the difference. It's famous for its mountain villages, Minoan ruins, and beaches. The Minoans are credited as being the first European civilization, actually. And the second largest region for olive oil production, where there are many organic farms, vineyards, and olive oil estates that you can visit. So this is where we begin our itinerary. So we'll start you off with 4 nights in Crete at an old Venetian palace converted to a boutique hotel in Old Town Chania. So in Chania, a lot of the Italian families that were wealthy came to summer homes. So there are some beautiful mansions and estates that are now hotels. While you're staying in Crete, you'll dive into an olive oil and culinary experience at an 18th century olive oil mill, and you'll cook unique recipes with Cretan herbs. And then lastly, you'll set sail on a wooden boat to the island of pirates, Rambuza, and this Balos Lagoon, where you'll swim and enjoy lunch on board. So here are some views of inside the boutique hotel in the Venetian mansion. And of course, beautiful rooftop views to the old town and harbor. And here is Balos Lagoon, where I mentioned you'll take a boat ride there. And there are some additional things to do in Crete, which you feel free to talk to your travel advisors about, trading any activities out. Maybe something speaks to you more. So there's an organic farm and a cheese workshop. There's some uniquely Cretan cheeses like Mazithra, which are just so delicious. Beekeeping at a local apiary, wine tasting at a converted monastery. There's a beautiful gorge and waterfall. So there's hiking and active things if you're into that. You can do lunch in ancient villages like this one featured here. There are a few beautiful colored villages, like taking a step back in time. You can actually learn some Minoan, ancient Minoan recipes and do a cooking course and pottery making, where you can actually take the vessel home with you and learn the art of phyllo dough opening. So we're going to show you a video of this. Is a 86-year-old man who lives in Rethymno, which is a town not too far from Kanya, and he actually rolls his own dough still by hand. He's been doing it for 50 years. So that was a bit on Greece. Now we're going to switch gears and talk about Italy. Right. So as you saw there, there's a sampling of all the cool things you can do. A lot of that was based in Tuscany, which we'll talk about. So we'll start with Modena, which is a city in Emilia-Romagna, which is known for its balsamic vinegar. Often if you look at your authentic balsamic, and maybe Joe can attest to that, it often says Modena on it. The town is also known for its auto producing prowess. So they're known for Maserati. It's where Ferrari is from. And it's also a foodie haven. The Osteria Francescana restaurant by Massimo Bottura has 3 Michelin stars, and people come from all over the place to eat in this little town. One of the dishes from his, I thought that was super cool, the way it looks like a fish. All right, then Puglia and Calabria. It's known for 82% of where the olive oil is made in southern Italy. So 68% of it is specifically in that region. So this is a photograph of Puglia. These are the Trulli homes, Trulli di, I'll probably say Alberobello. And these are specific homes found in this region. Another view of beautiful Puglia by the sea. So beyond the southern area, the remainder of olive oil production is mainly in Sicily, Campania, and these other regions. Tuscany only makes up for 3%, but it still is a beloved place to visit because not only for the olive oil production, but for the wine and in general, its culinary tours. So these are actually photos that I took when I was visiting at this gorgeous property. So we'll add on to the 4 nights in Crete with 3 nights at this property near Montalcino at a 17th century farmhouse estate turned into a luxury boutique hotel called Lupaia. It's gorgeous. From here, you'll explore Pienza. You'll see the famous cypress-lined road where parts of Gladiator were filmed. You'll visit a local pecorino farm and sample fresh cheeses, breads, and spreads. And also enjoy a local wine tasting another day, the famous Brunello di Montalcino wine. If anyone's big on Italian wines, I'm sure you'd probably know that. It's one of the most famous wines from the Tuscan region. And you'll also get to visit Montalcino. Here's another view of the hotel. So this is actually, again, photos from when I was there. I actually captured this guy. He was coming up fresh from the garden right underneath the farm. It's set on a hill. So all the animals in the garden is actually beneath, and they by foot go up and down every day. He's bringing up some fresh basil from the garden. And this was my group, my family. We did a tasting there, and it was just incredible. Fresh. I mean, it doesn't get more farm to table than this. In Pienza, that's a beautiful town nearby. This is actually a picture of what the shops look like in there. They have cheese and tons of olive oils and things on the shelves. And it's still a beautiful, quaint town. And here you can actually see the cypress-lined road where it was filmed from the Gladiator on when he was dreaming of returning home. And this is a view from Pienza. You'd be able to see something like this there. So then you would continue with a wine tasting. This is in the Montalcino, again, area. You can see the kind of mountains and hills behind. And it was just a very authentic, tasting. As you can see, the dogs and the animals come right up to you. It's just a simple table, but set out in nature. It's not a fancy tasting room, but it's just super authentic. It's still a family-owned business. They explain how they make the wine. You can go directly into their cellar, and it's just an amazing private experience. And other things to do in Tuscany, as you can see from my goat friend here, you can visit a cashmere goat farm, see how that is made and what kind of goats they use for that. Medieval castle and crystal workshop. There's truffle hunting with trained dogs, hands-on pasta making experience. You could meet a modern day Geppetto and his workshop, and a farm to table under the Tuscan sun lunch. So there's many things to do there. I'm interested to know if anybody wants to write in the chat, how many people have already done, Italy or Greece? Is it a bucket list for you? Have you been once? Have you been twice? I'd love to know. And lastly, one of my favorite places in Italy is Ravello. So many people know of Amalfi and Positano and the famous towns, directly along the water. But Ravello is my favorite place because it's really a gem. It's set further above the coastline and just offers incredible views. And it still has a very old world appeal. It's known for its famous Villa Cimbrone and the Terrace of Infinity, which have recently been featured in Wonder Woman and the movie Tenet, if anyone saw that and understood it. But there were scenes in that as well. So in Ravello, we're going to start with 3 nights at a converted convent with sweeping views of the Amalfi Coast. So that I believe that building was made in like the 1280. You'll explore the grounds of Villa Cimbrone, followed by an evening pizza making and wine tasting experience. In Italy, wine is always part of the experience, no matter where you go. And you can take in the colorful coast by water as you cruise the Amalfi on a private boat. So here's it doesn't even do it justice in pictures, but here's a picture of the Terrace of Infinity, which is set on an incredibly steep cliff off of Villa Cimbrone's property. And that's actually a scene from Wonder Woman with a lot of CGI, but you can still tell it was filmed there. And beyond that in Ravello, this is actual clients of mine. They went and did a pizza making course. They absolutely loved it. They put it in the oven themselves and had a really fun time with the brothers who have that. And beside, Ravello is known for its incredible pottery. So as you kind of meander the shops and the town, you can buy pottery, bring it home with you, and oftentimes they'll ship larger vessels for you. Here is, if you're interested in a 5-star property, this recently made Travel and Leisure's top 500 hotels in the world. It's the Palazzo Avino, and it's also a beautiful property. If you don't want to stay there during the duration, you could at least go for a dinner or a drink and experience its beautiful terrace there. And on your last day, I think it's absolutely necessary you see the Amalfi by boat. So you'll go along the towns Maiore, Preano, and see all of the beautiful towns while you enjoy some Prosecco on board. All right, and that concludes our 10-day adventure in Italy and Greece.
We've gotten quite a few responses in the chat. I know it's hard. for
I
you to
bet.
see the
I keep
chat.
seeing them pop up, Maria. So tell us.
Yeah.
Do
okay,
share.
I've got to scroll back up a little bit. Let's see here. Yep. And we've had a few people say you can never return too many times, and we totally agree with that.
True story.
Anna has been to Greece, and Italy's on her list. We've got Linda, who's been twice to Italy, and she's planning Greece for the first time. She's already been to Modena, Siena, and Ravello. Christine was in Tuscany in 2019. Debbie's going to Sicily in 2022.
Yay.
Deborah's been to both a few times. Joan's been to many regions in Italy. Let's see here. Chris W. Once in Tuscany and Verona and Como. Interested in going to the Cyclades. I apologize, guys. I'm scrolling through. It's a lot of.
Yeah, I just want to also mention, maybe Candace, you want to expand on how long you want to offer this if we're doing 2 weeks, but we do want to offer exclusively to your group free transfers to and from airports as part of booking this experience.
Yes, I know we talked about that. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you offering that to our group.
Yeah, I would like to, and I think I love the culinary inspiration of everything. And these are all ideas. Candace and Maria and the team will circulate a sample itinerary that you guys can get inspired from, but we're happy to customize it if you want to change hotels, or if any of the experiences I mentioned caught your eye, we can certainly trade those in. So even if you don't do exactly that itinerary, we'll work that bonus into any trips made through us for that duration.
Great. So if you want to share the screen back to Maria, we can flip over to the tasting portion.
All right, Candace, I am sending it over to you. You are now the host, my dear.
All right, so hopefully you can see us and we're coming in.
Yep, see you and hear
hearing
you.
us okay? Oh,
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. So as I had mentioned at the beginning, I am here in the Partridge Creek facility, and we're going to start just by having Joe walk through oil tasting. It's very approachable here. So what's so great about Joe is I came in, well, I've been coming here for a while, getting my oils and stuff here just because my husband is Greek, and we do a lot of home cooking. He's the chef at our house. I'm the sous chef. And we cook with a lot of different oils and vinegars and those kinds of things. So this is a frequent stop for our family. So Joe, if you want to get started.
Well, thank you again for having me and for joining. So some beautiful visuals we saw, some great lead-ins, Christina, with Crete and Modena. So now let's do some tasting. Let's have some fun with it. So,
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit about the oils and vinegars kind of as we're tasting, but I like to just jump right into the tasting.
Sure.
And then if there's questions later, I can answer some questions.
And if you don't have your kit yet, don't fret. Joe mentioned there were some last minute people that bought some stuff, or if you're seeing this recorded and you want to buy the oils, you can always go online and do that as well.
So we have a little, the kit right here that you see has our collection of oils and vinegars. And we're going to taste them together, walk through, and then we have your little packet that some of you have purchased about what's in the kit, how to taste olive oil like a pro, which we'll do that together. Then we'll go through, also in the kit is about the Arbequina olive oil from California.
Yeah, and I'm just going to hold this one up here so you guys can see that. This is the Arbequina that we're going to start with. And it obviously was in a sampling little bottle, but that's the one we're going to start with. He's going to pour it right out of the.
So then there's little tasting notes of the two oils that we're going to taste, of the Arbequina, the Calamata, the Tuscan herb, and the blood orange, and then we'll do some some vinegar tasting. So we'll get started. So we'll start with the Arbequina. So this is typically a Spanish olive, but this is grown crushed in California. Interesting enough, olive oil, the fresher the better.
Right.
So regions are classic and historical, and the varietals give influence to the taste of your olive oil, but freshness is very key too.
Right.
So I wanted to start with a nice mild olive oil for you.
And unlike wine, when you age it, obviously you want this, the fresher the better. So.
Yeah, olive oil is very perishable. So air, heat, and light hurt your oil. So you want to keep it corked up and sealed and away from light.
And one of the interesting things that you'll find if you Google oil tasting is a lot of times you'll see these clear blue glasses that they use. And Joe, do you want to explain what that's all about?
So there are professional olive oil tasters, and you saw in some of the videos from Christina. Typically an olive oil panel is 8 to 10 people. They are professional tasters. It's a learned skill too. So don't be afraid if we can't smell or taste together what some of the descriptions are. It's kind of a learned behavior. But typically they do olive oil tastings early in the morning, so there's no coffee, no smoking. It doesn't influence your sensory abilities of the oil. And they typically use blue olive oil tasting cups because olive oils have different colors. Let's see if I can. These are the two we're going to taste here. There's the Kalamata, which is a little darker green, and the Arbequina is a little bit more yellow. The color doesn't mean it's a better quality or not. It's just the different varietals of olives, and sometimes they're more bitter if they're darker or green. But it doesn't mean it's a better or worse oil. And those blue cups are there so that you don't see the oil and prejudge it before you actually taste it. So okay, so we poured our Arbequina. Everyone's kind of on the same boat. Who's got the tasting kit? So now we're going to kind of step through how to taste olive oil like a pro.
Okay.
So we poured a couple tablespoons into our tasting cup. We're going to cup it with one hand. What we're doing is we're trapping in the aroma of the olive oil, and we're going to take our other hand and kind of rub the bottom. And what you're doing is you're just warming up the oil. You're just kind of swishing it around.
You can see, I'm trying not to get oil all over my hand.
Don't get messy. Okay, once you warm it up, you keep your hand cupped. You don't want to release that aroma. And you bring it to your nose, and you smell it. I don't know if we can type in what kind of aromatics do you smell?
I smell like a grass,
Grass. Yep.
like a little bit of a grassy smell, like
So should have a good olive oil. Should have a nice kind of fresh aroma.
yeah. It does smell very fresh.
Either fresh cut.
We had
fresh
citrus
cut.
listed too.
Citrus. Yep. There's sometimes it's floral. Sometimes it's citrus. Yeah, I always say if it smells waxy or like crayons,
Not good.
it's a bad oil already.
Not
So
good.
it's probably oxidized and it has grown rancid. So if it smells like crayons, probably stay away.
Throw it away. Throw it out.
Okay, so now what that does is it gives you your senses kind of some clues of what the oil is going to taste like.
Mhm.
So what we're going to do is we're going to draw it in our mouth, and we're going to pretend like no one's around you and slurp it really loud. We're going to aerate it in your mouth.
So here we go.
Yes. There you go. And then swallow it. What you're doing is you're
Oh, so it gives you that coughing sensation, and that's a good thing.
sometimes
He
your eyes
said to
might
me.
water.
He said when we did this for the very first time, I started coughing, and I was like, "Oh, don't think I have anything. I'm okay."
So that method of kind of aerating is called strabagio.
Okay.
It's you're essentially atomizing or vaporizing it. You're coating all of your saliva in your mouth with that olive oil to give all your senses the ability to taste it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a creamy flavor that I think this one particularly has. It's
Yep.
light and creamy.
The Arbequina typically has kind of a creamy texture. That's kind of a note of the varietal itself. But as you taste different oils, some of them are. It's funny to say it's not the texture to touch, but the sense in your mouth has been creamy.
Right.
So that peppery feel that you get in the throat, that's actually a good sign. Christina mentioned the polyphenols. So those are your healthy antioxidants that good olive oil has. So a grocery store olive oil, you can find some good ones in the grocery store, don't get me wrong, but But a lot of those are refined oils, and typically they're depleted of polyphenols, so your health benefits, your true health benefits. So you want good fresh olive oil, picked at the right harvest, crushed and processed and extracted in the right method, will give you higher polyphenols. Early harvest olives give you higher polyphenol counts as well. But consuming olive oil for the pure health benefits, good fresh extra virgin olive oil is very important, and that lingering feel you get is a good sign also. So
Yeah, a little bit of a warm, creamy feeling. So, all right. So
All right.
we're going to move on to the next one.
we're going to move on to the Kalamata from Greece. Again, it's a little darker here. Again, the color doesn't mean it's any better or worse, just a different color. We do a heavy pour.
Yeah, heavy.
All right, you want to take us through this one?
Yeah, I'm just warming it up, as he said before, and I have it cupped. It's kind of hard because these cups are a little tiny, but you can figure it out.
I've done it a few times with these cups.
Yeah, he's a pro. I'm still getting oil all over my hand when I'm doing it, but bear with us.
So again, we're covering, trapping in the aroma. As you heat up the oil, it's going to release some more aromatics of the oil itself. 20 seconds swishing it around, bring it to your nose.
I smell pepper.
So it should have a distinct smell or a different smell to it.
Yeah.
Still fresh, but a little more grass smell to me. Maybe a little minty, a little stronger, a little more pungency.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's the pungent smell that I smell.
And
Strong.
don't feel like you have to smell what we're smelling. It's everyone has different senses, and a lot of professionals perfect this over time. So I wouldn't say I'm a professional, but I've tasted somewhere. So, okay, so now we're going to do the fun word, strapaggio.
Strapaggio. Here we
You
go.
want to take it out? How's this one?
Okay. Hot. Ooh, there is some heat in the back of the mouth. That peppercorn, like from, black pepper is the best way for me to describe it.
Anybody cough on the call? Any coughers? Maybe.
Nobody's admitting it.
It's okay. It's okay. So your first assumption might be, wow, that's a terrible oil.
It's strong.
Oh, we have one of our guests who had made some croutons for snacking and salads by tossing some tornut bread in the Kalamata oil and then garlic, salt, and oregano and baked them to be crispy.
That sounds great.
So
Wonderful use.
So the taste is a little stronger. I wanted to the Kalamata. I wanted to do the Arbequina was mild and the Kalamata is robust.
Yeah.
And those are two kind of different ends of the spectrum from mild to robustness, and to give you a feel. So it's those robust ones are maybe less popular because we're just not used to good olive oil here in the States.
It
Maybe
makes you cry a little bit. Well, tear.
or water eyes, and then sometimes we say it's a 1 cough oil, 2 cough oil, 3 cough oil, and that's related to the robustness, and that's really directly related to the polyphenol count in the olive oil, health benefits, and then also certain polyphenols like oleocanthal is one that gives you that kind of the astringency in your throat.
Isn't it important for that not to heat the olive oil up too much because it'll actually strip out that, burn it, right?
So with olive oil is a low heat oil, 360 to 400 your smoke point, but it's still good to cook with. But with any oil, when you heat it up, you just naturally heat out or extract some of the health benefits of the oil.
Sure.
So a lot of people say finishing oil.
Right.
So it's fantastic for finishing. But from a health benefits, if you start with a very healthy oil and you cook out a little bit, it's still much healthier than
if
an
you
oil
were
that
just
didn't
using,
have it.
a vegetable oil or something. Sure. Yeah,
So-
perfect. Okay.
So that's kind of a quick tasting. Again, there's different chemistry behind it. So actually, extra virgin olive is the first pressing mechanically expressed oil. So there's a lot of definitions and chemistry goes behind it. If you have questions, I can answer. But that's kind of the fun part of tasting.
Sure.
We're going to taste one of the flavored olive oils, the Tuscan herb, probably our most popular. Kind of looks like the Arbequina a little bit.
So they can see. There you go.
There we go, the Tuscan herb. So this starts out as one of what we say are regional or varietal olive oil, so nice mild oil like the Arbequina. Then the essential oils are infused in to the oil. So there's no floating herbs or spices or anything. It's all it's a proprietary process of infusing it.
So it's all done at the same time as they're pressing the oil?
Nope, not as they're pressing, afterwards.
Okay,
As an after infusion.
okay. Ooh.
But this
ooh,
one,
you can really smell
yeah,
this
this one you don't have to go through the tasting. That tasting is really for
Yeah.
unflavored, what we call different varietals,
Yeah.
extra virgin olive oil. So
This one.
technically, these are still extra virgin olive oils, but to be true to the definition, anytime you add anything, it's technically not an extra virgin olive oil then. So it's still made from extra virgin olive oil, has all the properties of, but to be true to the definition,
Mhm.
it's a flavored olive oil.
Sure, sure.
But this one, you just take a good smell. This one is instantly lovable.
Yeah, yeah, this tastes like or smells like what garlic bread would taste like coming out of the oven. So the best way for me to describe this for those of you that don't have the oil kit is that smell of your grandma's homemade garlic bread that they slather all the oil and butter and everything on. It's really what it smells like.
So this is the fantastic bread dipper or the nice bruschetta recipe that
Yeah.
that we have.
Yeah.
You could I'd put it on steaks.
Oh, that would be a
Before I
great
grill
idea.
and marinate with some spices.
Mm.
But for this, you can just kind of sip it and taste
Mm.
it. And the flavors are so pronounced.
This would be great on any meat, really, too.
It's that's kind of the go-to for
Yeah.
almost anything you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Fish, chicken, anything. Great.
We won't taste this one together just for time, but the blood orange is what we call an agrumato style, meaning it's two fruits crushed together. The olive is a fruit, the orange is a fruit, and they're crushed at the same time. So you get that strong citrus flavor, and again, nothing's added at all except for those two fruits, the blood oranges and the olives at the same time. Nice citrus oil. My mom uses it in her pancakes. She
Oh, wow.
loves it.
Oh, yeah.
She's made it with pasta sauce. Gives it a little different citrus flavor to your sauce. Some
Oh,
kind of
good
unique
idea.
application.
Yeah, yeah.
So try that one. Try that one on your own. But fantastic as well. So we tasted
Hey,
the
Joe,
region-
can I ask you a question? Because
Of course.
for some reason, as a panelist, I can't type the question. I don't know why. But one of the things I'm always concerned about is opening a bottle of a very nice olive oil and then not using it all up. So what do you suggest to prolong the life of the olive oil once it's opened, if you're not cooking with it every day?
A fantastic question. So when you travel to all these locations that were Christina showed, and so people like to buy a nice bottle of oil and then they save it because it's special.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Take it home. Yeah,
Don't do it.
take it home, use it, and enjoy it because it's when it's crushed, that's the best it's going to be. And only over time, it just slowly degrades. Meaning you lose the health benefits, you lose the flavor. So air, heat, and light is what hurts your oil. So keep it in a stainless steel container is preferred. Something where the light can't get it, away from any heat sources. So a lot of us like to put it next to the stove as we're cooking.
And you
leave
can
it on,
show
so-
the bottles, he sells them in our darker colored. Oh, here we go, there's some down here.
So it's to keep it, air, heat, and light again. So dark bottle, stainless steel is great if you have it. And then keep it corked up when you're not using it, and that'll keep it fresh as longest. But when you get your good bottle when you travel, come home and then use it and enjoy it. Don't save it.
Yeah.
We get that a lot. I've had this for 2 years and I just really want to save it for a special moment. You can save the wine for a little bit, but
Yeah.
enjoy your olive oil.
Yeah, the wine and the vinegar stay, the oil.
So
Yeah.
how long does olive oil keep, in your opinion?
Yep. So I always say we're a year and a half is a year to year and a half is a good rule. So, but some of your more robust oils with the more antioxidant counts, they actually help protect the oil. So it's good for your body, the health benefits, but it also helps protect the oil itself. So you got a nice robust oil, it's going to have a little bit stronger shelf life also.
Okay.
So again, if I open it up and it smells waxy or like crayons, it's probably gone bad already. But if you still get that kind of nice fresh aroma,
Or the cough or the crying,
yeah.
those are good signs.
So it's an excellent question. It gives you a lot of information. So you always try to find the most recent harvest date. So Northern Hemisphere, October, November, December is your crush, your harvest. south of the equator is April, May, June is your harvest. So you typically, you're not going to find harvest on a bottle. They have expiration dates now,
Right.
which is a good start. But really, you want to know the crush date of your oil. Yeah.
There you go. And so we're going to do a couple of vinegars too. We're going to talk about the aging of the vinegars because that is the opposite. You got to go long on the real good stuff.
Your vinegars are not going to go bad. So you can buy a nice bottle from Modena. Yeah, this is our traditional 18-year dark balsamic. To be very true to the definition, this is a condimento.
And the reason why it's a condimento.
Yep. So this is a bottle from this is a DOP, Aceto Balsamico from Modena, DOP, protected origin of designation. But the only ingredient whatsoever in a DOP, the protected origin of designation, is grape must. That's it. And it comes from the two towns in the world, the one that Christina showed us in Modena and the neighboring town, Reggio Emilia. So those are the only two towns in the world where true balsamic vinegar comes from.
And if they say it's balsamic, it's really not. It's like calling champagne or sparkling wine champagne, right?
Yep, like the true champagne comes from the Champagne region of France. But yep, similar. So we are tasting a traditional 18-year dark balsamic. To be very little, it's a condimento. It's very close in density and sweetness as a DOP from Modena. But it's a condimento. It has a little bit of wine vinegar in it to kind of speed up that fermentation process. So our balsamics are aged in wooden barrels. You take the grape pressings, the grape musts, and you put them into wooden barrels. There'd be oak, chestnut, mulberry, ash barrels. And as that balsamic vinegar is aged, and I don't know if we can see that picture up there.
Yeah.
There's different size barrels, and over the years, the seasons, the barrels expand and contract, and it pulls some of the character from the barrels into your balsamic vinegar, and that's how you get some really rich flavors. So now we're gonna pour a little in a cup. We're gonna drink it, but we're gonna let it sit on our tongue for a little bit and just kind of let it dissolve in your mouth, and then swallow it. Sweet.
Very good.
I can't hear Heidi's audio, but I think she said very good.
Yeah, I think so too. What I can say too is there's like a tang, like a tangy flavor, and sweet and tangy all at the same time. Very, very good. And you can tell why it's great on tomatoes, right? Because with the acid, you know, and the salt from feta, because I put it on my feta, calamata and the tomato, and this is my salad most nights with the.
So a good balsamic is real rich and sweet. Acidity is fairly low, you know, in that 4%, 4.5% range. So it's really nice and smooth. Again, we're used to grocery store vinegar, which has just a lot of wine vinegar in it. And acidity is like 6%.
Right.
And a really strong bite. So when people come into the shop, they're really surprised to taste how smooth, rich, and sweet it is.
Right. And that's, I think, the biggest difference between buying from a local, place that sells quality, high quality, versus just a lot of the grocery store that's mass produced. Nothing against Costco, because I know everybody can get it.
There's some good vinegars out there.
but yeah, really, really good, really tasty. Thank you.
So that was a dark balsamic. I know we're probably closing close to time here. I'm not sure, but we'll taste a white balsamic. So the Sicilian lemon. This is made. What's the difference? It's a white grape must. It's a white Trebbiano grape, still aged in wooden barrels. Again, this is a white balsamic.
Oh, you can smell the lemon.
Woo. Even in the smell, you can smell it just a little bit more acidic.
Yes, and that's my favorite. I think I was telling you how I love sour everything. Lemons in the morning with my water, so very good.
And you can actually put this in sparkling water, a tablespoon or two in your sparkling water of our balsamics, and it's just a nice refreshing drink and healthy. So,
great.
All right, so we'll put this on our tongue and let it dissolve.
Mm.
Mm.
You really taste that citrus and all the pucker.
Pucker
Puckerness.
power, yep.
The pucker power from the lemon.
We say sweet and tart.
Yes, like a sweet tart.
That's
Ooh,
it.
that's yummy.
So those are a couple examples of our balsamics.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So are there any questions that we have in regards to any of the oils or the vinegar?
Yeah, there are a few. Let's see, I've got them written down here. So, oh, I'm sorry, the oil and vinegar. No, you were answering them as some of them came in. So that was great.
Okay. Perfect,
We
perfect.
do have a few questions though for Christina that came in.
Sure.
But before we get to that, is there anything else you wanted to check or add with that before I like switch back to the trip portion?
No, I think we're good. We just wanted to make sure everybody had an opportunity to ask questions and know that if you still want to order the oil or the vinegars, it's obviously available on the site too.
Yeah, and we'll send that link out in our follow-up from the virtual vacation as well. Okay, so a
Great.
few questions that came in. One was for the destinations that you mentioned for both Greece and Italy, is there a specific time of year that it's better to visit those?
That is a good question. It depends on what you're looking to do, how you want to spend your vacation. If you're a beach lover and it's really important to do, you know, the cruises and things like that, I would say stick within the kind of May to September range. Summer is very hot and is very crowded. July and August are the most popular months, and with popular and tourism also comes the price. So I personally recommend to, you know, when I like to go, what I recommend to friends, family, and my clients is like May and September are really lovely. It also depends on if you know, if you're interested in visiting in winter. Greece has lovely mountain villages and is really beautiful. Athens is gorgeous at Christmas time. As many of you saw, they just had snow, which hasn't happened in like 12 years. So yeah, I mean, it's just the fall, the change of season. There's really, I'd say Greece is beautiful year round, but people tend to go spring and fall.
Okay, and then another question that came in was, all right, one of our guests mentioned about visiting the Cycladic Islands. And so what's the best way to visit them?
Great question.
To the Cycladic one specifically?
Yes.
Yes. So I always recommend everybody, you know, it's a bucket list trip for a reason. There's a destination you've been pining for, be it Santorini often is at the top, or Mykonos. I recommend taking one island that you really want to visit and combining that with another island or two that might be a little less popular, just to get a really authentic experience. And also to, you know, the most popular ones, again, will be the priciest. And sometimes they're not as authentic. So I love combining Mykonos or Santorini with islands like Naxos. Naxos actually has some really cool ruins. It's known for its marble. It has gorgeous beaches. I also love Syros. It's a little more cosmopolitan. It's actually the capital of the Cyclades. A lot of Greeks really live there year round, so you get a very, you know, kind of local feel going there. I mean, there's so many. Sifnos, Amorgo. I could go on and on, but I would say to get the most authentic experience and best value for money, mix some of the lesser known ones with one or two of the ones that you really want to go to, depending on time, and don't try to do too much at once. Enjoy where you're at. Ferry rides take 4 or 5 hours. You know, it's just stay at least, I always suggest staying at least 3 nights if you can, to really get a feel for the place.
Yeah, because if you try to pack too much in, you're going to need a vacation from your vacation when you get home. And,
Yeah.
you know, if you spend more time on a particular island, you're really getting to see and experience it. Well, I guess that's true of any vacation, but definitely with the islands. There's another question that came in asking about a little bit of a broader sense, like with the Mediterranean diet, religion and philosophy sites, anthropology, archaeology, that kind of thing. Christina did another Greece itinerary or overview for us. It is in our Facebook group. I'll post that link again. But I can tell you, being of Greek descent, most of the country is Greek Orthodox, and you find a lot of churches throughout the entire country as well as the islands. When the last time I was there, which it's been a while, and my cousins are very not happy with me for that, my sister and I got to visit the site of Akrotiri on the island of Santorini, where basically they believe that that whole area had been washed out by the volcano. So, I mean, just like fun stuff like that. And there is a lot more to do. And for more specifics and what you're looking for, please reach out to one of the advisors here tonight, because we can help answer your specific questions. Greece, for being such a small country, really has a lot to offer.
Right. And there's different ways to see it
absolutely.
too. There's different ways you can see it. If some people, I've had a couple of couples actually rent a yacht and go from one island to the other. And because they have the yacht to themselves, they can decide how many days they want to stay at one particular place versus another if they happen to really like the area.
I've got one more question about visiting Greece, and then I do have a couple that came in for Joe as well. So the last question I have so far, can you participate in a harvest of the olives like you can with wine?
Yes, actually the season in Greece is typically November. So that's also nice. It's something to come to do kind of in what we call shoulder season. It's toward the end of tourism season, so you can get a really reasonably priced vacation, but then you can also visit and do something a little different than the typical vacation. So the olive harvest is in November, and you'll often see them with these huge rakes and cloths just kind of raking it up. So that's pretty interesting to see. And you also mentioned the wine harvest, Crete, which we presented in the vacation. You can actually participate in the wine harvest there in many places throughout Greece. And that's typically in September. So two really cool things. Just make sure you ask your advisor ahead of time, and you know, we can plan it around a specific place to where you'd like to go.
And what the such a perfect reason to go back twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Just stay from September to November.
Just stay. You know how you can work from wherever you're vacationing.
Exactly.
Just take too many positive COVID tests and you'll just
you gotta
have to stay.
What a horrible place to have to quarantine.
Thanks, Christina. Joe, we've got a couple of questions for you. One of our guests was asking if you could repeat how long the balsamic vinegars will last on a shelf.
Yeah. So true balsamic vinegar is indefinite. It's not going to go bad. It's just grape must. That's the only ingredient. So you don't have to refrigerate it. You don't have to store it.
And you've had some of these. These are some older ones.
Yeah. So this Modena is actually aged 25 years. And this is a 18-year from Reggio as well. So indefinite shelf life for vinegars.
Okay. And Joan is asking, she said she lives in California and has heard that some of the California olive oils surpass Greek and Italy. What is your opinion?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So we classically think of Italy and Greece as like the olive oil, and it's true. It's fantastic oil, but you can make good oil. You can make good oil everywhere. But there is some really good groves and mills in the States here. California in particular has its own California certification as well. So they're really pushing the quality in California, and they have some good oil.
And that's where
the Sarmaquina is from, actually. So yeah, so freshness is key, but the unique thing about olive oil is it picks up the surrounding vegetation. So certain regional areas will have different flavors to them. So that's what's fun about the locality of the region of it.
Yeah, the terroir makes a difference. So.
And we've got another question. Is there any difference in care or storage between balsamic vinegar and glaze?
Ooh, good question. So your glazes, if you get a glaze in a store, definitely read the label. A lot of times they put thickeners, homogenizers in them, and just a ton of sugar, and it's like a really manufactured product. Whereas balsamic vinegar, true balsamic, right, is all it is great pressings, and it gets thicker as it ages. You can actually reduce your balsamic, we say low and slow on a stove, and thicken it up a little bit, and that's like your own reduction. So I guess I can't say from a grocery store, what they put in them that might have a shelf life or they need to be refrigerated. So that's a tough one to answer. So
Check the label.
check the labels. Yeah. Typically, I try to get a clean label, right? Less ingredients and everything you can pronounce, and as healthy as you can.
Stuff you know what it means.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully I answered that well.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, not all things are, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, not all of these are created equal.
Yeah.
Do I have any last questions from those of you who are still on with us? Okay, again, for those of you who are interested in checking out Christina's prior webinar with us on Greece, I'm putting the virtual vacation link again in the chat. Actually, hang on, my computer's acting up. There we go. And I also have put in the information too on how you can find us if you're local for the meetup groups, as well as where you can find us online and how to contact us through our email. I'm going to copy and paste that back in. Christina, Joe, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback in the comments that people thought this was great, and it was. And again, for those of you who were not able to purchase the kits ahead of time, we will send the link out for that in the follow-up on this. We have, I apologize, I apologize. My computer tonight is not behaving well.
A perfect way to spend a Tuesday night, tasting from around the world and seeing beautiful sights and places we hope to all go very, very soon.
Yes, sooner versus later, right, Heidi?
Exactly. And there are still places, for those of you who are comfortable traveling now, there are places that are open to tourism. Please reach out to your advisors. We're happy to answer your questions on that, as well as help you book those locations. Our next virtual vacation is going to be on the 18th of March. We are going to South Africa. If you have questions about that or haven't registered, we do have those links in Eventbrite, as well as our meetup groups, or our Facebook groups, Take a Virtual Vacation and Eat, Drink, Travel. Those links are, again, just posted in the chat. And then we have a way for you to save it. So if you're looking in the chat function, on the bottom right corner, you're going to see 3 dots. If you hover over that, you're going to see a little box that pops up and says More. Click on that, and then you'll see a box that pops up and says Save Chat. Click on the Save Chat, and that way you will have it it'll open up in your notepad on your computer. So thank you again, Christina and Joe. We've had a fantastic evening. If you weren't hungry before and didn't eat, I am so sure you are now, between the pictures that Christina shared and the olive oil and vinegar tasting.
Also, I want to let everybody know, if they didn't realize it, Joe sends 4 fabulous recipes with this kit, and my daughter and her boyfriend are cooking 2 of them right now as we speak for our dinner after this, and I can't wait.
Nice.
Okay, that means you have to
Awesome.
share after, for
I
sure.
will.
You've got to.
I will. I'll post pictures.
Please do. Please do.
Maria, I just wanted to add one more thing, if I may.
Sure.
For everybody who's concerned about travel to Europe, the touring boards are doing everything they can to get things open up as soon as possible. And both Italy and Greece are doing a lot of really, really lenient cancellation policies. So it literally is a win-win if you book ahead. And there's some where it's like 24-hour cancellation prior. If you book flight insurance, flexible flight policies, travel insurance, and a flexible hotel, you might as well plan your vacation, because we really hope it'll open up soon. So keep in mind flexible terms. They're really on your side right now as a travel consumer.
Yeah, and
Great,
the
thank
fact
you.
that I'm hearing from more and more of our travel partners that the availability is low. So, people have rebooked from last year. They're already booking for next year. So if you want to be able to either get that hotel or be able to get in on a particular experience, because a lot of them right now you have to reserve in advance. You need to book early. Debbie is asking about the link for the olive oil. We'll be sending that out in the follow-up. I don't have that in front of me. I apologize.
Oh, I can throw it in there. I got it.
Oh, okay, great. Great. Otherwise, if there are no more questions, we'll let Candace throw that in there. And even though I ate dinner earlier, I think I'm gonna go get some bread and dip in my olive oil.
And the
'Cause I'm,
balsamic, yeah. I'm ready.
Exactly. Are they making vaccines mandatory for overseas travel? A lot of that is still up in the air. Not everybody's been able to be vaccinated yet. So, Christina, what are you hearing about that?
Well, it's really
All right.
important you break your trip down. So your airline will have specific requirements. The country you're entering will have specific requirements. So just kind of pay attention. And that's why it's more important now than ever to book with a travel advisor, because if you start DIY with all these regulations, I don't even, I'm scared. That's why, Maria, I call you when I need help with my flight, because I can't do it. So yeah, I would say always, we're pre-booking now for Greece, and a lot of people aren't sure what Greece will look like. I'll speak to Greece specifically because it's what I deal with daily. The Minister of Tourism is saying that they will only require a negative test versus a vaccine specifically in Greece, but that doesn't mean your airline won't have other requirements. So that's why it's really important to look at your trip very holistically and make sure all the elements from start to finish are something you're comfortable with. And that's why I definitely use your advisor.
I think people might be asking too, because I think it was Royal Caribbean that just came out today with they're opening up their cruises now to vaccinated Americans. So I think they're launching in June, I think is what the article had said. So that is probably why people are asking.
Yeah, and keep in mind, even if you book today, that doesn't mean that when you travel, those requirements are going to be the same.
Right.
Those are, and that's
Right.
what we can really help you stay on top of.
Great.
All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. We've had a fantastic evening. Join us again on the 18th of March when we visit South Africa. And again, you can find the links to those either in the Facebook groups or through Eventbrite, or reach out to one of us and we'll be happy to send you the link. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.